What is up, Doomies? It feels so good making this video, or finally getting around to making it. This trailer came out yesterday, and so we are doing a breakdown for everything. The main trailer of Doom Patrol Season 4 teases us, and just to let you know, I'm gonna have access to a few episodes before it releases. So similar to Titans, if you're a Titans fan on the channel, I'll be giving a no spoiler review. I believe the embargo lifts around December 5th, so keep an eye out for that. I haven't seen any yet, by the way. I wouldn't want to before doing this trailer breakdown, because then I would know what's happening. So all that's left to say is I hope you enjoy this breakdown. Thank you for clicking on it, and of course don't forget to leave your comments. This trailer alludes to a lot of strange Doom Patrol things going on, so hoping to read any ideas, theories you have for what could actually be coming our way in Season 4. So let's start right at the top, and we hear Kipling. Will it be Kipling, played by the legendary Mark Sheppard? I'm such a fan of him in this show, so it's feeling really good to see him featured quite a bit in this trailer. And he says that something very big and very dangerous is heading our way. Immortus is real, and it's coming, and that we are wandering into the literal end of days as we speak. And the Doom Patrol don't exactly take this so seriously. They actually kind of laugh at this in response. Actually, Dr. Harrison is the only one who's like, I actually think he's being serious. We can also see in this shot that the time travel machine has somewhat dug its way up right outside Doom Manor. So I guess after they defeated that ballsack creature at the end of last season, they just kind of stopped off home, and I'm guessing this is where the season picks up. Maybe not too much time after the end of Season 3. And this is when we see Rita looking at a picture of some fields by some crops, and it's etched into the grass, I guess you could say, Immortus will rise. And since Madame Rouge, obviously just kind of like Niles Calder back in the day, as we learned last season, worked at the Bureau, she actually knows a little bit of this. So she details that the Immortus project is the pursuit of none other than immortality. Kipling says, haven't you ever wondered why you've looked exactly the same for decades? And then he tells the Doom Patrol, forget your longevity, that's it, it's all over for you lot. Which is when things get interesting. Rita starts kind of freaking out in a couple of shots in the trailer because she's noticing some aging to her, and a little bit later on we do see Madame Rouge and Rita, with Rouge saying, what do you say, want to go save the world? And Rita's reluctantly answering, fine. This goes back to the teasers that we had at New York Comic Con, where Rita's being a bit hard on Madame Rouge this season, given their history and what happened last season, but it will somewhat, I guess, smooth its way out, and obviously they're going to work together to find out whatever the heck is causing them to not only age, but we've got a few things working this season as well, such as the butt apocalypse, which was heavily featured in that first trailer, and we get some of the recycled clips in this trailer of the butts dancing and then tearing up that guy in that kind of hazmat suit that he's in. So a few things going on, but first you might be thinking, what is Immortus? You know, what does it mean that Immortus is coming, Immortus will rise, the literal end of days, and just maybe how could this reference a certain Doom Patrol comic character, which is the most interesting aspect to me. So first off, and I'm sure there's a lot of Doom Patrol fans out there who have read the source material, you know, very familiar with Doom Patrol characters and villains, so this seems, you know, just off face value to be referring to General Immortus. But the thing is, will he really be Season 4's villain? And that's the thing, I really don't know. That remains to be seen. But just in case, for those of you who don't know who General Immortus is, he's one of the Doom Patrol's enemies, of whom has lived for a very, very long time, centuries, even, you know, arguably going back to ancient times, because his origins are a bit murky, to say the least. Now, how did he achieve this? He kind of came up with this elixir, potion, if you will, with a bit of alchemy twisted in there, and it gave him a very, 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 very long life, hence the name General Immortus. And also he has been a member of the Brotherhood of Evil. Now, due to him living a very, very long time, he's, you know, a genius scientist, he's a, you know, very profound strategist, and as I always say with shows, guys, any of you know what I'm going to say? They aren't copy and paste. So if they do General Immortus, it's going to be interesting to see how and if they adapt him in this live action show, because it's like, how long has General Immortus been alive in the canon of Doom Patrol? Also, if he is in this season, where has he been this whole time? And then I start asking questions, why did Niles Calder in this show's iteration helm the Immortus initiative, if you might remember, as it seemed like they gave a little bit of General Immortus's role, so to speak, unique to Niles in a way, who was literally in search for immortality. But the difference between Niles, before anyone, says otherwise, is very, very big. General Immortus already had immortality cracked, and he wants world domination, and Niles doesn't. He just did things very, very selfishly, as we know. Now, as far as the show and General Immortus, to my memory, and this is my memory, so do correct me or let me know if I've missed any other references out, but the only reference we've really had of any form of Immortus before is when Niles Calder helmed the Immortus Initiative. And if you're a bit hazy on those details, the whole purpose of the Immortus Initiative was for Niles to create a way of obtaining immortality. Obviously, as we've had it explained to us before, that's why he looked into the Doom Patrol members, and it was all in an effort to kind of live forever, at least one day longer than Dorothy, his daughter, so he could be there with her. So we know that he caused those accidents to the Doom Patrol, and in season 2 we had it explained with the Candlemaker, Dorothy, and everything he tried to do behind that. Then he gave his immortality talisman away to Willoughby Kipling, and then that's how he started aging rapidly, and the rest. So as a result, other than that kind of Easter egg in the name or the project that Niles was helming at the Bureau, the Immortus Initiative, I don't think we've had any other massive direct references to General Immortus before. So if they do him, which it seems that like they could be, it's just interesting to consider and factor in that they've kind of done a little bit, albeit quite a bit of a different twist on Immortus before with Niles, as we've already been over. But another interesting factor with Niles and observing the Doom Patrol and causing their accidents, researching them for their immortality, is that he didn't necessarily know how they had it, other than obviously orchestrating said accident. And this brings me back to Kipling's line of saying, haven't you ever wondered why you've looked exactly the same for decades? So perhaps they're going to add more context into that history with Niles to kind of maybe explain the ambiguity there, but at the same time I don't think they would so much because we don't have Timothy Dalton on the show anymore. One way they could kind of do this is that it's been done before in the source material, is that General Immortus actually hired Niles Calder after losing his formula to the elixir to find out how to obviously recreate that for immortality's sake. So I guess they could perhaps tie something to that, even though Niles' drive in this show was solely to kind of live long enough for his daughter, to the extent of ruining these people's lives for his own selfish gain. But I don't know, perhaps they could add a one-liner in there or something like that, that Immortus gave Niles the idea for what he could do there. But I have to admit, I feel like I am very much so reaching there, so it's probably unlikely. And with what the show's established before, this whole Immortus thing might not actually even be anything directly to do with the said villain, General Immortus. This is what I mean. This season, albeit we know what we're working with from the teaser trailer, the main trailer now, is quite a bit ambiguous with the main threat. So as Willoughby Kipling says, that's it, it's all over for you lot. And so we see, for some reason, the Doom Patrol characters are aging. But why? This is the thing. Why is their immortality fading? Wasn't it tied to their unique accidents, such as Larry? He's got the negative spirit or the negative baby now that I guess keeps him fueled. I think they've mentioned that before in lines. And then obviously Cliff is literally a robot man, and technically he is already aging because they introduced him suffering with Parkinson's. And then such with the others, they have their own unique properties, like Elasti-Woman maybe is something to do with her skin cells, unique properties there. Jane, she was literally injected with something. In the comics, it was like something to do with the Dominators, but in this, I guess it's just something to do with that. Either way, why are they now aging? So you could toss really random theories out there, like General Immortus is actually behind all of this and is sapping people of their life force in an effort to get his, I don't know, immortality back, or this is the thing. It's just like, what is going on? But then you remind yourself of the lines of the literal end of days is coming, and you think, so what is the main threat? Immortus is coming, or the Butt-Pocalypse. I initially thought from the first teaser it was the Butt-Pocalypse, but now I'm kind of confused. But anyway, amongst all of this and the scenes we were just talking about, we see the Doom Patrol walk into this movie theater, and it seems that they're watching some kind of film, old film of Rita. Now, I don't want to get too far into this one after what I just got into, because honestly, again, it's a bit ambiguous, but this could be them potentially looking at a recording of Rita for the purposes of the Immortality Project, and they're just kind of recovering old tapes, maybe old tapes from Niles, but that would indicate that maybe this movie theater is in Doom certain manner, and I'm unsure about that. But then we also do see later on in the trailer an old film of Cliff and Jane here as well, except that this shot is zoomed in, so I wonder if it's a part of the same screening that the Doom Patrol go to. But honestly, overall, I'm not sure. It could also just be them going to a movie screening, but then again, it wouldn't be unique to Rita, given that we have the clip of Cliff and Jane. So as usual, trippy Doom Patrol stuff here. Would love your continued theories and thoughts down in that comment section. And some of the threats this season that we can see in this main trailer are a range of things, because we do know there's the butts, likely causing that butt apocalypse, but then we see them in that steampunky version that we talked about in the teaser trailer breakdown, in where there's this version of the world where the Doom Patrol are fighting the butts alongside like two cyborgs, one of them very, very steampunky. And then here we see this like zombified person, and I don't know whether this is the effects of aging via Immortus is coming, or just something else entirely. Maybe the were-butts can now, I don't know, give the zombie virus to people as well, and that's what's going on in this moment where Cliff absolutely decks that zombie-looking person. But going back to that kind of Zack Snyder-esque nightmare timeline of Cyborg, of which the very beginning of the trailer opens up with, we see him walking in this very apocalyptic-looking land, but then we also see him fighting, except this Cyborg is a lot more steampunky, as I said, and no longer has a sonic cannon, but somewhat there's this unfolding crossbow with a bolt on it that comes out, which is really, really cool. I actually really appreciate this reimagination of a steampunky cyborg. Now, I do wonder, how do they get here? Perhaps they use that time travel machine, and instead of going to the future or the past, it just kind of sends them into some alternate reality. Again, very trippy Doom Patrol stuff. Then we get teasers of the Doom Patrol and this kind of sci-fi parody, the Star Trek parody, if you will, with this new character to their left, as seen in this shot too. And this makes me wonder if they were a prisoner of the Bureau in their past, maybe. And we also see that he's clicking his finger in this shot in this sci-fi parody looking location with this other character. So I wonder if his powers somehow brought them to this location. But who is this person, you may be wondering, because there are quite a few other clips of him in this trailer, and you actually might recognize him because it's Sendhil Ramamurthy, best known for his role in Heroes, or Ramsey Russo in The Flash, aka Bloodwork. Now, according to TV Line, the actor will play Mr. 104, who is described as a charming and mysterious man of many elements. The character is based on Jonathan Dubrovny, Mr. 103, later Mr. 104, who was created by writer Arnold Drake and artist Bruno Premiani, and first appeared in 1965's Doom Patrol 98. Mr. 104 possesses the power of molecular reconstruction and can transform his body into any element of his choosing. So molecular reconstruction could offer an answer as to what the heck is going on with this sci-fi location of Doom Patrol in, and I love the outfits. It's absolutely hilarious. Now, I wanted to tie this clip to this moment that we're talking about, or what you're seeing on screen, because later on we see Rita and Madame Rouge find this room full of sketches. Now, we see figures of a man's face, and it does kind of look like General Immortus, but maybe, again, I'm reaching there. And it says something on the right-hand side, like, enter the something of all, and it's just blocked off. And then on the left, we see us, like as in Immortus. So this could be something to do with General Immortus. And, you know, the reason why I wanted to bring it up now is because maybe, as we saw in that clip, we saw Mr. 104 in like a jumpsuit with like a tag on, and he could have been a prisoner of the Bureau. So what if this is his room and he's done all of these crazy sketches in there? I really don't know, though. He might not be the villain. He might be a nice guy. They could be hiding a villain behind his nice guy exterior, or I could be going completely in the wrong direction right now. But even if this isn't his room, it seems that Rita has stumbled across something with Madame Rouge, and I love that she's in this kind of detective get-up, because as we know, she's taking her hero side of herself this season very, very seriously, and maybe a bit too seriously, as teased by April Bowlby at New York Comic Con. Speaking of this new character, we see him in the corner of this room. We see Cliff getting launched back, but notice all of these little trophy cases here. Now, in one of them, I noticed that there's this little vial of like green liquid, maybe the elixir, maybe the very potion that makes General Immortus immortal, quite literally. Again, if we don't get General Immortus, I can imagine this just being an Easter egg to something like that, or maybe it is something more significant. Again, I'm probably looking too far into this, but just wanted to point that out. Now, earlier when we were on about Kipling talking about the end of days, Immortus is real and is coming, we saw a clip of a bunch of people on the floor, perhaps dead even, and I do wonder if this is where the denizens have set up shop. We see a sign in the background saying free hugs, and I wonder if somehow the whole Immortus is real, the literal end of days has maybe reached them, or perhaps this is some other entirely different threat that they're facing, because we do see Abby Monterey return as Dorothy with Morally Corrupt standing next to her, and they seem to be looking at something and getting ready for some kind of confrontation. In other news, in both trailers, you may have noticed that Cliff is missing his hand, his arm, if you will. Now here we see Silas and Vic, and it looks like they have a little present for Cliff because you see a little bow on top of a hand. So it may be that Vic got his father in to work on how he can help Cliff actually use his motor functions properly, because he was suffering quite a lot with that in the previous season. So looks like Cliff might be getting a replacement hand from them. Speaking of Cliff, we get to see him in his human form, and we get to see Brendan Fraser, and that is absolutely fantastic. I love it whenever they do that, and this is all in Christmas attire. Then we get to see Matt Bomer, so Larry's in his human form as well. Again, the context to this scene, well, there is kind of none, so I don't know what's going on here. But very interestingly, Madame Rouge says that we have to go back to where this all began, and that's when it cuts to the Doom Patrol in the get-up of their younger selves, such as Cyborg having braces. Kipling looks absolutely hilarious, and Cliff is in his cowboy get-up. But speaking of Christmas, a minute ago, I think we did have it teased at New York Comic Con that Dorothy sings another musical number, and in this point of the trailer, we get to see some kind of musical number being performed by all of the Doom Patrol, all wearing Christmas outfits in Doom Manor with a Christmas tree in the background. Now, some of the final clips show what I think could be Mr. 104 running into a portal of some kind. Larry's baby, of course, looking forward to more of that. I can't wait to see Larry bond more with his negative spirit baby thing. And then, of course, we have Cyborg enjoying his life. This isn't to do with the Star Trek parody stuff. I think this is just him, you know, exploring more of his human connection, his human side, of which we know we're getting a lot more this season. We have Codpiece going absolutely ham with his Codpiece gun, and I think he's enjoying that. And that is more or less all of the details that I can pick out from this Doom Patrol Season 4 main trailer. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. That's the dose of Doom Patrol Season 4 that we have to break down today. So I'm just going to leave the floor open to you guys. What are your thoughts on not only like the teaser trailer that we got before, but that in combination with this main trailer? What do you think of it? Do you think it looks like a good season? Are you interested in what's to come? All of the absolute randomness, craziness that Doom Patrol has to offer, to me, still feels very present here. So again, can't wait to see what you have to say. Just thank you for clicking on this video. I would really appreciate a like. So if you already have done that, thank you so much. It really helps my channel grow. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, do consider subscribing, because again, as I mentioned earlier right at the beginning, I'm going to be doing a no spoilers review for the first few episodes. I'm guessing it might be as many as what I got for Titans. And then we're going to have breakdowns every single week. So I hope to see you there, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you doomies in the next video. Goodbye.